Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this is High Octane, where I take either a deck or a specific card and see just how fast it can win a game of Commander if given the perfect opening 7 cards and the next 10 cards stacked. Now obviously this is just a fun thought experiment. It counts on some things like your opponent's not doing any kind of interaction, so no counter spells, no board wipes or whatever, but most of the time these are going to end within the first 3 or 4 turns. However, getting these perfect setup cards is relatively unlikely, but it's still cool to see just how fast a deck could win, and that allows you to decide whether or not you want to try and build it to get closer to that or be more consistent in that win. Today's episode is actually built around Millennium Calendar. It's a really fun card, and I thought, well, how fast can that particularly win? So let's go ahead and jump into it. Doesn't really matter what your commander is. As you can see there, I have Progenitus because I wasn't sure what colors I needed, but basically this is a mono green setup, so any mono green commander would do. You just need the right cards, and of course Millennium Calendar super early. We also need to assume one extra thing this High Octane that's different from the others in that you are going first. Normally it doesn't really matter, but due to the nature of the Millennium Calendar, it kind of helps to make this a little more simplified in terms of explaining it if we are the ones going first. Turn 1, we're going to play a forest, tap it for a soul ring, tap that for an arcane signet, and tap that for the Millennium Calendar. The Millennium Calendar, of course, says whenever you untap one or more permanents during your untap step, put that many time counters on the Millennium Calendar. You can then pay 2 and tap the calendar to double the amount of counters on the Millennium Calendar. Finally, when there are 1,000 or more time counters on the Millennium Calendar, sacrifice it and each opponent loses 1,000 life. That was turn 1. We pass turn, comes back around to us, we untap. On the untap, we are of course going to add 3 counters to the Millennium Calendar because we untapped 3 things. We will then play another forest, tapping both forests and the soul ring to play Thran Dynamo, which taps for 3 colorless mana. We're going to tap that and play Manifold Key and Volcanic Key. Both of them say essentially the same thing, where it's pay 1 and tap that key to untap target artifact. We have 1 colorless floating mana, and we will tap the Arcane Signet for a 2nd mana to activate the Millennium Calendar's ability to double the counters on it, putting that to 6 counters on the calendar. That is turn 2. We pass turn, it goes around the board, it comes back to us, we untap, and we are going to untap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items, including the calendar itself, so that doubles us again to 12. So we put 6 more counters on it, taking us to 12 counters. We're going to play 1 final forest, because that's the last one we need. We're going to tap Thran Dynamo, tap 2 forests to play Seedborn Muse. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Now, you're probably starting to figure this out. That's why we wanted to go first, because it just keeps this easy and keeps it into turn 3. We're going to go ahead and tap the Soul Ring to tap the Millennium Calendar, doubling the counters on it up to 24. Now we have enough mana that we could tap one of the keys to untap the calendar, but we don't have enough mana to activate the calendar again, so it wouldn't really help anything. So we're just going to go ahead and pass turn. Now, here's where it gets really fun. So turn 3 for our first opponent, they go to their untap step, we untap all of our permanents. Now, you can do this at any point during their turn for maximum jerkiness, I guess, basically. Wait till their end step. So in response to you moving to your end step, you tap the Soul Ring to tap the Millennium Calendar to double the counters to 48. Then you tap a land to tap the Manifold Key to untap the Millennium Calendar. Then we tap the Thran Dynamo to tap the Millennium Calendar and double the counters again to 96. We still have 1 floating from Thran Dynamo. We use that 1 floating to tap the Volcanic Key to untap the Millennium Calendar. We then use our 2 lands to tap the Millennium Calendar again and double the counters from 96 to 192. Now that is all we can do on their end step. So we let their end step resolve. It moves to our second opponent's upkeep. They go to their upkeep, untap. We untap all of our stuff as well. Their upkeep, and then you say, in response to your upkeep at the first available time where we as a player can get priority from them on their turn, we do all of that again and win the game. Because right now we have 192 counters on it. We tap the Soul Ring, tap it again to double that to 384. We then tap a land, tap the Manifold Key to untap the Millennium Calendar, tap Thran Dynamo to tap it down again, doubling from 384 to 768, using that 1 floater to tap the Volcanic Key, untap the Millennium Calendar, our 2 lands, tap it 1 more time doubling from 768 to 1,536 counters. At which time we sacrifice the Millennium Calendar. Boom! All of our opponents take 1,000 damage and we win the game on our second opponent's upkeep within turn 3. So there you have it. The Millennium Calendar, when optimized, can win on turn 3, basically. What do you think? Can you make it go faster? Is there any way to get more things tapped or to untap and activate its abilities faster so that you can do it on your turn 3? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please follow me for more Magic the Gathering content here and on my other socials. Check out the links in the bio, and I will see you next time.